It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston. Thanks for tuning in to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. I appreciate you joining me this morning. And over the course of the next hour, we're going to be talking about real estate. If this is your first time joining this program, let me tell you what we have planned over the next hour. And this show is designed to inform you, the consumer, about real estate. There are plenty of shows out there that are a very salesy show. They're going to try and sell you something. It's a very long, drawn-out process of, hey, work with me. And although we'd certainly love to earn your business and help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate, the show is designed to help educate you about real estate so that when it comes time for you to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you're an informed consumer. You know what to do. You know what to say. You know the right questions to ask. And you can hopefully get a good deal on something. If you're selling, you sell for more money. If you're buying, you buy for less than fair market value. If you're investing, you make the money on the flip. And we're going to talk about a few of those things this morning. But I appreciate you joining me on this Saturday morning. I am live in the studio, so I'm taking your calls today. The number here in the studio, if you want to be on this program, is 843-556-1250. Again, 843-556-1250. Now, if you want to talk about real estate, you hear something that I say over the course of the next hour, and that sparks an interest, you'd like to talk with me off air about real estate, my cell phone number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you can visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Learn more about myself and my team, who we are, what we do, what we sell, testimonials, search the MLS, listen to previous versions of the show. If you're thinking about selling your house, go to the Sell Your Home tab, and you can learn more about what we do from a marketing perspective. Now, this is a very special show today, and here's why. My mother is joining me in the studio as a spectator, but the pressure's on, so don't screw up, Brian. But, Mom, great having you here. So what we're going to talk about first is ethics in real estate. You know, what happens if, as an example, you purchase a home and then you learn from the neighbors or somebody that the house had a fire? I mean, did the listing agent and seller know about it? Did they fail to disclose it? Should they have told you that information and didn't? You know, another example would be, you know, have you ever received a call from a real estate agent saying, hey, I've got an offer for you? And then you invite that person over. They start talking with you about real estate, and then you find out it's really just a ploy for them to get inside your house and try and get your listing. They don't have a buyer. They don't have an offer. They just wanted to talk with you and see if you were interested. I mean, if you've sold a home or had it on the market, do you really know how many offers you received, and were those offers presented to you? So those are some of the things that I want to talk about, some of these common dilemmas and occurrences in real estate and what that means to you, the consumer. And again, if you have questions, comments, you have a story that you'd like to share, the number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. Now, so for the majority of Americans, buying or selling a house is the most expensive transaction of their life, and most of us only do it a few times in our lifetime. So that's why hiring a real estate agent you can trust, is so important. And so for the majority of us real estate agents, you know, we walk the fine line every day of making sure that our actions are ethical and that we're adhering to the code of ethics and the rules and regulations that we're governed by as we're selling real estate, while also understanding that we're trying to make a living. We're in sales. You're hiring us to be a consultant for you and a salesman to everybody else. A perfect example of something like that would be, you know, somebody calls one of my for sale signs, and we use scripts. We're in sales. We use scripts. Anybody that's self-employed, anybody that's ever been in sales know that scripts exist, and the more and more you practice them, the more and more they become part of your everyday language, and as you master them, it helps you in whatever it is that you're selling and whatever it is that you're doing. And so when someone calls a lawn sign, a typical script would be, thank you so much for calling about that property. Yeah, we're getting a lot of calls on that right now. I don't even know if it's still available. Let me check. You know, while I'm checking, tell me what it is about that house that you were interested in. Or, can I get your contact? Blah, blah, blah. They start to rope you into this conversation when really all you want to know as somebody driving down the street is, how much is that house? How much does it cost? And then all of a sudden you've had this 10-minute conversation with your new best friend and you're meeting in the office tomorrow to talk about working together. I mean, it's sales. It's real estate. Now, is saying something like, oh, gosh, that is such a hot property. Everybody's calling on that one. There could be no activity whatsoever on that property, and you can't measure that. There's nothing out there that says, here's how many calls are being placed on a property. Here's how many showings I can see as a regular everyday consumer. So, yeah, part of that is sales. Part of that is that unethical is the question. Curious to hear your thoughts. 843-556-1250. So I want to differentiate something here. There is a difference between a real estate salesman and a realtor. When you're a realtor, you pay the National Association of Realtors. You pay them a yearly dues, and then you adhere to their code of ethics and standards of practices, and you take additional continuing education to make sure that you're following the rules, regulations, code of ethics, so on and so forth, to be able to say that you are a realtor. And so they have something called the Code of Ethics, and it's broken down into 3 parts. The first section deals with our duties to our clients and customers. The second talks about duties to the public in general. People that we don't necessarily represent, but what are we responsible as responsible professionals? What are we responsible for? And then the third section talks about our interaction with other real estate agents, other realtors, other real estate salesmen. And so some common things that I see on a recurring basis as it relates to ethics in real estate, which is what we're talking about this morning, would be some things like a real estate agent calling a seller that I currently represent to say something like, hey, are you happy? Are they doing a good job for you? It sounds like, you've been on the market for 2 months. You sound frustrated. Would you like to talk with me about what I can do for you differently? That is a major violation. That is a major ethical violation. And there are agents out there that do that. Sooner or later, they're going to get caught. Someone's going to, blow the whistle, and that real estate agent is likely going to lose their license. These code of ethics and the rules and regulations that we have to adhere to, not just as part of the National Association of Realtors, but as part of the Charleston Trident Association of Realtors, the board that we're a member of for our MLS, and then, the South Carolina Association of Realtors. When we as real estate agents mess up, when we do something unethical, there are some fairly strict things that can happen to us. I mean, it can get very bad very quickly for a real estate agent. And there are things like, you've obviously got the contacting the client to say, hey, work with me. I can do a better job for you. You're essentially poaching some other real estate agent's business. But then you could also see things like the mishandling of paperwork, which we see all the time. It could also be a failure to disclose or communicate material facts about a property. A perfect example of that would be somebody had their home listed for sale. It went under contract. They had a home inspection. There was a bunch of stuff wrong with the house as per the findings on the home inspection. The property went back on the market because the buyer and the seller couldn't make a deal, and the seller doesn't disclose any of the findings from that home inspector. They could have structural damage. They could have a fire in the attic. They could have major wood rot. They could have active termites. The list is endless almost. Should the seller be disclosing that information? Absolutely. We do that through a document called the Property Condition Disclosure Statement. It's a 5-page document that sellers fill out, and it's a questionnaire. It's a yes or a no. It's do problems exist? Tell me more about this. Explain yourself. It's very detailed, and it seems like as the years have gone by, that document has gotten longer and longer and longer. But that's an example of what we as, a community of real estate agents, the National Association of Realtors, the board, South Carolina Association of Realtors, puts together to ensure that the public is protected and that we are disclosing information, because one of our primary roles is to protect the public. We cannot mislead anybody. Now, there's one example that I wanted to give you before I take a break. And let's say that you had your home for sale, and a real estate agent brought you an offer. It's a great offer. You accept it. And then you get a call or an email or a letter arrives in the mail and it's from a disgruntled buyer or it's from a disgruntled real estate agent, and they say that we are frustrated that our offer was not given the consideration it deserved. We would have at least appreciated something in writing from you saying that you rejected our offer. And the seller opens, this happens. The seller opens it up and they say, wait a minute, what the heck is this person talking about? I never received this offer. So it begs the question, did the listing agent present all offers? That's a question that you ask yourself as a buyer agent. Say, hey, how do I know that this offer is going to be presented, especially in a multiple offer situation? I mean, think about this. If a listing agent is representing a property for sale and a buyer goes to the listing agent to make an offer, that listing agent, the person representing the seller, could represent both parties to the transaction and earn twice the commission in the form of dual agency. So let's say that there's an offer from a buyer that the listing agent represents, and then there's also an offer from another buyer represented by a totally different agent. How do you, as a buyer, feel comfortable understanding that your offer was presented? Well, we just had some new documents come out this year, and one of them is called an offer rejection letter. The seller and the listing agent now have to sign a document that is a South Carolina Association of Realtors approved document stating this is the offer, this is the date it was made, these are the buyers, this was the offer amount, and the seller and the listing agent sign it saying that we presented it on this day at this time and we are choosing to reject the offer. That is how you as a buyer now have peace of mind that the offer was actually rejected by the seller rather than just being thrown away by the listing agent because he's working another deal on his end. So I would say that the majority of the time, real estate agents are ethical, they are professional, they are working in the best interests of their clients, customers, and the general public. But are there some things that you can do to protect yourself and educate yourself? Absolutely. I would go to just Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever you use, and just Google Realtor Code of Ethics. And read it. It's an interesting read, but it will tell you what we as real estate agents are supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to be operating on a daily basis. And if you find out that there's a discrepancy between your agent or the agent on the other side of the party, then there's some serious offenses. It could be anything from a fine. It could be a suspension. It could be license being revoked. They could pay fines. They could go to jail. Some serious stuff. So as it relates to ethics in real estate, educate yourself and, of course, trust the real estate agent that you're working with. When we come back, I'm going to give you some advice for a first-time home flipper. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, you want to flip some properties, stick around. I've got some important information for you. Again, the number here in the studio, 843-556-1250. If you want to be on the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show, we'll be right back, Charleston.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA. WTMA. Expert news and views on the Low Country real estate scene. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston. Thanks for joining me as we talk about real estate here in the Charleston area. If you're just tuning into the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show, we just finished a segment on ethics in real estate. You know, what are some common occurrences that we as real estate agents deal with? What are things that you need to know if you're going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Again, this is a show that's designed to educate you on the real estate market and the process. And so I love being on this program. I've been doing it for 5 years. And I like sharing my experiences as somebody that's sold 1,000 homes in the Charleston market. I've been doing this 11 years. I have a team of 15 people. We've already done over 150 transactions this year. And so it's nice to come on this program and share my experiences with you, educate you, and make sure that as you're listening to this program continuously, you learn more and more and more, not just about the market, but about how to behave within it so that you get what you want. You get more money when you sell. You get a better deal when you buy, all that good stuff. So I'm in the studio. I'm taking your calls. Curious to know what you'd like to talk about this morning. If I say something you'd like more information on, you want to share a story, a comment, a complaint, the number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. 843-556-1250. Now, if you want to reach me off air, you want to talk about real estate with me personally, you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, we'd love to earn your business. I can be reached personally. My cell phone number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. You can learn more about myself and my team and Look at everything we've sold. You can read testimonials, search the MLS, listen to this show for the past 5 years on that site, and learn more, of course, about selling your house or selling homes in 38 days and for 98% of asking price on average. So would love to earn your business. Let's talk about flipping real estate. You know, we haven't heard so much on this program through me about flipping real estate. We used to talk about it a lot back in, 04, 05, 06 when the market was just going crazy. And you could buy a property for 50 grand, put carpet and paint in it, and sell it for, 85, 90 grand to somebody that's borrowing 110% of the, purchase price. The market now is so much different for flipping real estate. So I want to share some of my experiences because I have flipped multiple properties. And if you're, among those people that watch those programs like Flip or Flop or Flip in the Block or Flip This House, Flip This, Flip That, whatever. I mean, you think you become a master flipper as you're watching this program. And you're not alone. There are a lot of people out there that are getting into flipping real estate as a side business again. It's not back to the days where your local bartender owns 7 rental properties. But we're certainly starting to see people getting back into the industry, maybe that were flipping beforehand that had some success, or they're saying, look, I'm finally back on my feet. I've got some cash. Real estate seems like a good play right now. Let's get into flipping. And so, as I mentioned, we're not quite seeing the spike in flipping that we saw in 2005, 2006, which is also when home builders were, building like crazy. We're certainly seeing our fair share of new construction in the Charleston market. And you need to be aware, of course, of what your competition looks like if you're going to flip a property. But what a lot of people are doing right now is they're focusing on desirable areas, perhaps older neighborhoods that people want to live in, that are established, that are well-known, that have some nice amenities, that are in a good location, and they're turning an older property into something new. They're essentially catering to the people that want something renovated, or they want to buy new construction. They just can't afford new construction, or they don't want to be in the new construction location. I mean, think about it. Charleston just continues to grow. I heard a stat, and I haven't checked this, but I heard that there are 20,000 or more building permits in Berkeley County right now. Our area is just growing like crazy. And so builders, developers are looking for tracts of land to build property. They're tough to find. They're having to go on the fringe areas of Dorchester and Berkeley County and fringe areas of Charleston County. I mean, look at Mount Pleasant. Look how far north we've pushed over the past 7 to 10 years. People used to never think about going out that way. Carolina Park was the boonies, although Sneef Farm used to be the boonies too. So we have to keep everything, relative to the time. But what people are doing is they're focusing on areas that are attractive to people, and they're creating something that competes, in essence, with new construction. They're going after those folks that want new construction. They just don't want to be in those fringe areas of Charleston, Berkeley, Dorchester County. So, as I mentioned, I have flipped several properties. And again, if you want to be on the program this morning, the number here is 843-556-1250. If you've got some success stories with flipping property, or maybe you had some flops, maybe you didn't do so well in flipping property, let's talk about that. Let's talk through some of the processes. Let's talk about what you learned. And, if anybody else is considering flipping, feel free to call, ask some questions. Here to answer your questions, 843-556-1250. So, I will say this about flipping properties for myself. I only go after home run opportunities. Excuse me, I had to drink a little coffee. Stay awake this morning. I've got a 1 and a 3-year-old, if I have to remind any of you. So sometimes sleep is not always as plentiful as I would like for it to be. But anyway, so I have flipped multiple properties in my career myself. I have helped dozens and dozens and dozens of people flip properties. I actually represented a guy that was out of Vegas that was flipping 300 to 400 homes a year in Vegas, and then aligned with me in the Charleston market. We did a few flips. We did fairly well with it, but he just said, you know what? It's just too much. I can't travel between Vegas and Charleston and do that whole thing. My business is too established in Vegas. I'm just going to stick closer to home. But here are some things that I want to really convey to you if you're thinking about getting into the flipping business. The first thing that I want to tell you, which is incredibly important, and I know it's self-serving, but it's true. You have to work with a knowledgeable real estate agent who can help you not only identify potential properties to flip, but that can give you enough insight into the market and that you trust enough to say, here's what we realistically can sell it for once everything is all said and done. You know, it's not just about how much of a deal you're getting when you buy it or how much you're investing in it. At the end of the day, you have to calculate your return on investment. And one of the key pieces to that process is determining how much it will sell for realistically. Okay? Now, obviously, as an investor, you should be digging for your own deals. If you really want to get into it, you're going to have to turn over a lot of rocks. You're probably going to have to make a lot of offers too. You're probably going to have to make 10, 20, 30, 40 offers before you get the one that's accepted. But my advice to you is to choose a property that's close to home. You know, especially if you plan on doing the work yourself. If you live in Mount Pleasant, I would strongly suggest that you don't select your first flip in Walterboro. I mean, you can. It depends on your budget and your time and how much involvement you want to have with the flip. But my suggestion is to stay close to home, because on your first flip, the more work you can do yourself, the better off you're going to be financially, the more profit you're going to keep. I mean, at first, it's best to take on properties that really just need some cosmetic updates, things like updating the kitchen, bathrooms, floors, paint, so on and so forth. Save the properties that need structural work once you've gotten a few flips under your belt, because that's really where you can get surprised financially. Somebody says, hell yeah, that's going to cost you $5,000, and then they start to peel back the layers of the onion, and it's $8,000. And you're saying to yourself, oh, shoot, I don't have the ability to fix this and also put in the granite countertops, which was really the only thing that I was going to do that was going to excite somebody about this property. So now all I've done is just spend my money on repairing it. And when you're flipping properties, you have to do your math to make sure the transaction is worthwhile. I mean, you need to know the purchase price, the cost of renovations. You have to have contingency funds for a rainy day or for something that comes up that you didn't expect. You have to understand your utilities, your carrying costs, your insurance, your taxes, how much it's going to cost you to buy it, how much it's going to cost you to sell it, sales commission, all of that stuff. So you need to obviously either work with somebody that's been through that and that can properly calculate those numbers for you. There are plenty of spreadsheets out there on Google. Feel free to do a search online, and there are plenty of options out there for Excel spreadsheets that allow you to drop in certain things. And along those lines, you've got to have reliable contractors. I mean, there are so many contractors out there that are overbidding jobs, or that will say they'll do something, and let's say that they do a job and they agree to something and they say, you know what, this is actually more work than I anticipated. I'm going to have to give you a change order. This is just more than what we anticipated. So I'm sorry, but I have to change it. The quote here and charge you more. Let's take a break really quickly. Let's go to Tim. Tim, you've got some questions for us. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Listen, I'm a real estate appraiser. You were talking about ethics earlier, and
yeah.
I just wanted to say one thing that I think gets confused a lot between an appraiser and a real estate agent is what they can communicate about. Back in the HVCC came into play.
Mm-hmm.
Appraiser independent stuff, and then that was rolled into Dodd-Frank's, and basically the agent cannot attempt to influence the opinion of value with the appraiser. That doesn't mean they can't have conversations about condition and everything else involved in the house. And generally speaking, it's kind of like if I ask you for comps or information, I'm doing research.
Exactly, yeah.
If you give me comps, you're trying to influence my opinion of value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been kicked around with different opinions from different people ever since it's been enacted. But I think that's kind of the general consensus amongst appraisers now. If I can't, if I look at a house and I'm saying, where in the world they come up with this number from? I may call them and say, what did you use to price this house with? And they give me the comps that they used to price this house. So if I'm having a problem bracketing something on the house and I call and ask, that's me doing research, me asking for information.
Yeah, and Tim, I've been in this business long enough to know that like when we get the appraisal order, when we put a property under contract and we know that we're getting the appraisal, I have the seller put some information out on the counter that says, here are the upgrades that we did, here are the dates that we did it, here's the cost associated with that. we take that, we put it on the kitchen counter. You take it, great, it's yours. If not, totally up to you. But yeah, we're not calling you before you do the appraisal to say, hey, just so you know, here are some things about the house that make it unique, and I want you to know this, this, and this. We obviously can't influence the appraisal, but when you reach out to me and you say, hey, Brian, what did you use to comp out this house, or answer these questions for me, then obviously I know as the listing agent, there's something on your end that you're struggling with, and it's an opportunity for me to provide you with some information that substantiates either the contract amount or the terms of the contract or the price that we quoted the seller and listed the property for, to hopefully make sure it's in line with the contract amount.
Yeah, well said. Just what you can't do and what the homeowner can't do is say, I need this house to come in at $385.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm doing a refi, and the homeowner says, we're looking for $400. That's a no-no.
Yep.
Some appraisers will walk off from that.
Yeah, and I would hope that they would, because, gosh, you guys, us included, really, real estate agents, appraisers, closing attorneys, lenders, we all got a slap on the hand when the market crashed in 2008. But no, appraisers, I think by and large, I have not had one issue with an appraiser all year. I'm not going to say that I haven't in the past, because it comes up from time to time. But I will say that although we've had appraisals that have come in lower than the contract amount, I haven't had any issues with unprofessionalism among appraisers or the interaction between real estate agents and appraisers. And I'm thankful of that, because I think that our industry, by and large, is growing and learning and respecting the lines that have been drawn in the sand to ensure that no matter what, we're protecting the public.
The public trust, exactly. I've seen your packages before. They're very helpful. I've appraised houses for you, and I'll tell you this. When I see your name as listing agent, I know that the house is going to be priced very close.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We do.
Face value. You're not giving up anything in almost all cases. Let me just tell you a quick story about a house that I bought once. It was in need of renovations.
All righty. We've got about a minute and a half, Tim, and then I've got to take a break, unfortunately. But yeah, go ahead.
I got about 15 seconds, maybe 20. I bought this house, needed to be renovated. I made arrangements, had all the contractor go in and do an estimate for me, and then we were scheduled to close on a Monday. I told the contractor, you can start, we're scheduled to close Monday morning at 10 o'clock. You can start Monday afternoon. He said, I got everything lined up. I'm ready to go. And the closing got pushed back. I tried to call the contractor. His phone had gotten broken. This house was on a combo lockbox. He had the combo.
I see where this is going.
The next day, I tried to call him again. I figured, contractors, he's probably, I don't know, maybe he's fishing. Well, we closed on Thursday. The selling agent went to get the lockbox off of the house, and there was a dumpster out front that had all of the toilets, all of the bathrooms. All of the bathrooms had been demolitioned. The cabinets, kitchen cabinets, most of the interior of the house was in the dumpster before we closed on the house. And rightfully so, she went ballistic on me. I said, hey, I had no idea. But it's really a good thing that house closed like it did, or I would have been renovating the house for free, That's a
great point. It's very similar to moving into a house before you close on it. There's a lot that can go wrong there. But I will tell you one thing, kind of the interesting side note on that story is that they demoed almost an entire house in a day. I need the name of your contractor.
Yeah, well, you know what? God, I missed the guy. He got in a motorcycle wreck.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No doubt, man. But
all right,
those
Tim.
were the good old days.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I really appreciate you calling in, and enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy the show, man. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue our discussion about flipping real estate, and we're going to talk a little bit more about purchasing vacation homes, and we're also going to talk about, if we have time, some things you need to watch out for if you're going to buy or sell a for sale by owner. So still plenty to talk about and plenty of opportunities for you to call into the program. 843-556-1250 is the number here in the studio. Stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA. WTMA. Now, here's more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston. Thanks again for tuning into the program. We're talking about flipping real estate. And just had a great call with Tim, an appraiser here in Mount Pleasant. If you'd like to be on the program, you want to talk about real estate here, you have a success story with flipping, you have a flop story with flipping, feel free to give us a call here in the studio, 843-556-1250. Now, if you want to reach me off air, you're interested in selling your house, you want to talk about buying or investing in real estate, my cell phone number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273, or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Learn more about myself, my team, our success so far this year. I'm very proud of my team, and I brag on them every once in a while on this program. We've already done over 150 transactions this year, one of the top teams in all of Charleston, and if you're thinking about doing something in real estate, we would love to earn your business. So again, 843-345-1273, or listingsincharleston.com is the website to visit. Let me finish this discussion on flipping real estate because I've done this several times on my own. And as I mentioned, I really only go after home run opportunities. If I see something with so much meat on the bone that it just makes sense for me to buy it and flip it, then I will. Having said that, more of what I'm interested in is buying and holding. I'm more interested in a monthly return on my initial investment, in addition to the appreciation that I'm going to inevitably receive as years go by. It's more of a long-term play. Flipping is as short-term as you can get. Flipping the property, there's even something called flipping the contract. You could get a contract so good with somebody that you say, hey, here's a deal. I'll sell you this contract. I'll assign you this contract. Just give me 10 grand. And you can make 60. That happens more than you know, actually. So let me finish some of these points that I was giving you as it relates to flipping property, not just in this market, but in any market. And so we talked about choosing a knowledgeable real estate agent and how important that is, and not just in terms of finding the deals, but in helping you sell it and capturing your return on that investment. Choosing something that's close to you. If you do work yourself, you're going to keep more of the profit. If you have to travel an hour every time you want to visit your job site, you're probably not going to visit it as much. And one of the big things that I like to tell you is visit your job site often, daily if you can, because it's quality control. You want to make sure the contractors that you've hired are going to get the job done, because every day you own that property, not only does it cost you money, but it costs you in the form of risk. You could have a break-in. There could be some sort of natural disaster. Every day you own that property, something could potentially go wrong. So that's why they call it flipping. It is a get in and get out quickly. Having said that, every flip, in my opinion, has to have at least one element with a wow factor. I mean, you cannot, in my opinion, you cannot expect to sell a property with new carpet and new paint for the same price as a new construction home with more bells and whistles. I mean, that's what buyers want, is they want to go into a property, they want to weigh their options, and they want to select something with a little bit of a wow factor. Now, maybe you've done a good job, and you've said, hey, this house has a great yard, or it has a massive screened-in porch, or the property already has a wow factor. Maybe it's got a fantastic floor plan that's unlike some other homes in that area. Maybe it's got this huge bonus room above the garage that would be perfect for another family room or a mother-in-law suite, whatever, what have you. So there are wow factors that the property already has. If they don't have it, in my opinion, you have to create it. You have to take that into account when you're buying it. And here's another thing that I'll tell you, and this is probably one of, if not the most important thing that I can tell you about flipping real estate. And that is this. You make money on your flip when you buy your property, not when you sell it. I'm going to say that again. You make money on your flip when you buy it, not when you sell it. Let me explain. You can control the purchase price of a flip. When you go and you start flipping properties, you are going to identify how much that property is going to need. This is the method here. You're going to first and foremost identify what your required return on investment is. It would either be a percentage of the cash that you're going to invest. Let's say, look, I'm not going to do a flip unless I can make 20 to 25% more on my cash. Or you could say, I'm not going to do a flip unless I can walk away with $25,000 or more. Those are the two ways that you really can look at it. So first and foremost, you identify your required return on investment. And then from there, you say, all right, this home needs these things. We need a new roof, a new HVAC. We need to refinish the floors, paint. I want to put granite countertops on the kitchen, new stainless steel appliances. I want to put tile around the tubs, blah, 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 blah. You calculate the cost of all of that. And then once you know what it's going to cost to repair and renovate the property, and you know what that's going to be worth post-renovation when you go to sell the property, that is what allows you to calculate the purchase price. So the repairs are a fairly fixed cost. You can only sell the property for what the market will pay for it, which means that the only thing you can really control is how much you pay for the flip. So if you have your return on investment guidelines, that's what allows you to fill in the pieces of the puzzle. So the problem that most rookie flippers do is they get emotionally invested in a flip. They say, man, this is a good one. This is a good one. And they compromise their guidelines. If you are a investor and you're a business person, you set your limits. It's a business. There is no emotion in flipping. You create an emotional connection with the buyer that purchases the home by creating the wow factor. But the rookie flippers out there get emotionally attached to a property and they overpay for it, or they underestimate the repairs and overestimate the sales price, which is really a double whammy. If repairs end up being $20,000 instead of $15,000 and you can sell it for $200 instead of $220, well, there's a $25,000 swing and maybe you're only making $35,000 on it. So now you've done all this work and you might not make anything. There's another rookie move. And then the last rookie move that I see is getting emotionally attached to a profit. You know, not dropping the price if the property is sitting, or saying something, or holding out for $60,000 in profit when you could make a quick 40 and then move on to the next one. It's about flipping. It's got to be quick. And the real flippers out there that are making a lot of money, they've always got something going. They're doing multiple flips per year. Now, if you want to just dabble in it, you want to do one flip a year, hey, that's awesome. Make your money. Do it. It's fun. I love flipping. Just make sure that you're being careful and make sure you're working with somebody that's done this before and that's played with their own money. You know, don't just hire a real estate agent that says, hey, yeah, I can help you flip a property. Look for a real estate agent that's done it with their own money. Then that way you know you can trust what they're saying because they've put their money where their mouth is before. Okay? So when we come back, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to talk about some things that you need to know if you're going to buy or sell a for sale by owner property. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. 10 minutes left. If you want to be on the program, the number here, 843-556-1250. Again, 843-556-1250. Stick around, Charleston. We'll be right back.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back, Charleston, to the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Always a pleasure to have you guys on the program. I thank you so much for calling in with your questions and stories and experiences. If we've got about 7 minutes left in the program, so if you want to call in or something you want to talk about, feel free to do so. The number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. 556-1250. Now, small caveat, we do play the show again Sunday at 10. So if you want to reach me and you're listening to the Sunday show, My cell phone number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you can visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com, and submit your information there. You can learn more about myself, my team, our success. We've sold over 150 homes already this year. We're one of the top teams in Charleston. Would love to earn your business. So again, 345-1273 is the cell, and listingsincharleston.com is the website. So let me talk for just a few moments about selling your house for sale by owner. I mean, it's a tempting route. It's a tempting alternative to hiring a real estate agent. You know, in selling your home, you get to save a commission and potentially earn more money, or just have to, not deal with that whole process. So why not try it? It's a good market. It's a seller's market. Why not try to sell your home on your own? Well, here's why. There are some major risks associated with selling for sale by owner. Anything from a lower price to landing in some legal hot water. I mean, so before you pursue this, let me just give you a few things to think about. And I'm not here to discourage you from selling for sale by owner. What I'm here to tell you is to educate yourself. Anything from educating yourself on the process, pricing, marketing, condition, contracts, which is a huge thing. But let me just go through a few things that I wrote down here that I think would be helpful for you. The first thing is that your listing is it's just not going to be seen by as many people versus listing with a real estate agent. I mean, one of the key reasons why people list with real estate agents is get access to the MLS. Once your property lists in the MLS, then it automatically goes on every single real estate agent and every single real estate brokerage's website. So there we've got 6,500 people, I think, in the Charleston market that have a real estate license. So there's 6,500 websites that you might automatically get to go on. Agents have multiple websites. And then you've got things like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. You may or may not appear there if you're for sale by owner. Some things for you to consider. We call Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com the big three. At least we do on our team or in our industry. Zillow's the number one real estate search website out there. Trulia's number 2 and Realtor.com's number 3, but Zillow owns Trulia. So I would suggest getting on Zillow. You can pay a flat fee to a real estate agent to appear on the MLS, and then that means you gain exposure to all the other real estate agents out there, but there's no representation. You're paying $500 or so to be on the MLS and to allow other agents to see it. And that's about it. There is no representation whatsoever from that real estate agent. So just understand your marketing options when you're selling for sell by owner. The other thing that I want to be very clear about is this notion of being able to drop the price as a for sale by owner to sell it for below fair market value and save a commission in the process. Can we do some quick math really quickly and just debunk this idea, this silly idea? If you have a home and it's $100,000 and you're selling it for sale by owner, let's say you list it at $94,000, saving the 6% commission, and you sell your home. Okay? Now let's say a real estate agent lists and sells your home for $100,000, but they charge a 6% commission. In both instances, you're earning $94,000. Let me ask you a question. If you're not saving money or earning money in the process, why in the world would you want to go through the process of selling your home for sale by owner and subjecting yourself to that level of liability and risk rather than having a professional do it for you? I would tell you, and I've had this happen multiple times in my career, and this year, that we have worked with for sale by owners and we have made them more money on the process of selling than they were trying to do on their own. They underpriced their property. And so that's a big deal, is pricing your home correctly. And of course, you have to learn more about contracts. I always, when I make calls to for sale by owners and I find out more about the property to see if we have a buyer or to see if they're entertaining the notion of hiring a real estate agent at some point in the future, I'd like to know at some point I want to earn their business. If they say, you know what, this just isn't for me, it's not working, it's been 3 months or whatever, it's been 3 weeks, I don't feel like leaving my job once a day to show my home to somebody that ends up not being qualified whatsoever. They just want to walk through the house. And I'm sick and tired of being called by real estate agents that say they have an offer for me or they have a buyer for me, And when we walk through the house, all they do is talk about how much, real estate they sell and how great they are and how they want to work with me to help me sell my house. That was not why I brought them over to my house. So I think at some point for sale by owners get very distracted. But here's what I will tell you if you're selling for sale by owner, because we're running short on time, and I hate to cut this segment short. We'll talk more about this next weekend, I promise. But if you're thinking about selling your house for sale by owner, you have to understand the contracts and the process. So I have written a free ebook. I wrote it. It's my authorship, and it includes every contract that you could need when selling your home for sale by owner. I'm happy to give you that ebook so you understand the contracts, the process, marketing, condition, all that fun stuff. All you have to do is go to listingsincharleston.com, listingsincharleston.com, and go to the contact site page and type in for sale by owner kit, and I will email that right over to you. Thank you so much, Charleston. If you want to reach out to me, 843-345-1273 or listingsincharleston.com off air. Thanks again, and enjoy your weekend and the solar eclipse. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273.